Hi, this is Matt with GOFIGURE software. Today we're going to cover how to enter a member into the Spectrum software, how to assign a key tag in the Spectrum software, and then to optimize the member experience, and for you, how to assign that tag to the member in the IGO360 software system. So, high level, let's explain what's going on here. There are two separate software systems. There's one, the software that runs the Spectrum centers, and then two, the software that runs the IGO360 software that does the contract management, appointment setting, and the other details on how to manage your membership base and collect payments and operate your center that way. Two separate systems, and because of that, the two separate systems have to be managed separately. You'll enter a member into one system for their billing and scheduling needs and that sort of thing, and then you'll enter a member into the Spectrum system to set them up to be able to use the Spectrum equipment. So here's how that works. In your center, you're going to have a main computer where you're doing, employee functions and using the IGO360 software primarily from day to day. You'll also have a login to log into the OsteoStrong or to the Spectrum software system. That login URL is OsteoStrong.org. And this is what it's going to look like. You'll log in. Usually, just so you know, the email for that is the main email for your center. So if you're in, Los Angeles, it'd be like losangeles at osteostrong.me or Bakersfield at osteostrong.me or something like that. It's the main email address for your center. That password is assigned when it's set up and sent to you once the order for the Spectrum equipment has been placed, just so you know. So to set up a member, it's pretty straightforward. You'll log in, and then you just simply click the button that says add new user. That's it. It has information that you're going to want to capture, so you'll just simply enter their phone number. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with typing it in for this. It's fairly straightforward. First name, last name, gender, weight, height, birth year, email address, their status, all this other information. If they had done an osteogenic loading session previously and didn't record or happened to write it down, but it wasn't saved in the system, maybe it was in a test mode or something, you can capture that here. Then you have the unit of weight that they prefer, pounds or metric. You're not going to use password or clear password for the user. It's just not a functionality that's utilized yet. And then you have certain other checkboxes for, qualifiers for that, whether they can use the system or not. And click Save. You're done. That's it. And the user is ready to go. Now, the system, it supports an NFC tag, or that's the fob that you're going to scan in with. So now, after the member is set up, you'll scan into the machine with their phone number. So you can do that all the time. If they forget their tag, for example, you can just simply key in their phone number and you'll be good to go. Pause the share right quick and pull up the Spectrum app. Now, to show you how that's going to work and how to assign the tag, I'm going to launch the Spectrum app on my computer. It's not on the Spectrum equipment, but it'll give you an idea of what's going on. So this is what the Spectrum app looks like on your Spectrum equipment. If you haven't seen it yet, here it is. There's a little tablet that sits on the equipment, and this is how you access it. Now, as you know, simply entering 4 1s or 4 2s brings up test mode. 4 1s is in pounds, and 4 2s is metric. Just so you know, that's what the difference between those two are. So after you've set up a member on osteostrong.org, like we've just seen, the next step you're going to do is you're going to enter their phone number to log them in any piece of the Spectrum equipment. So I'm going to log me in as me, since I'm set up in here, and this is what will appear. And this is exactly how it looks on the tablet. Now, instead of doing a session to assign the key tag, you simply go to Settings. You click NFC Tag and take the tag you want to assign to your member and scan it on that piece of equipment, okay? When that happens, it'll auto-populate into this NFC tag field and click register, and you're done. Now, I'm already set up, so I'm not going to do it, but then you're done. Now, that tag will work for that member on that piece of equipment and every other piece of equipment. One other thing I'd like to show you here while we're here on this settings tab is one of the troubleshooting steps, and we're putting together a different video on Spectrum troubleshooting. But one of the most easiest to implement troubleshooting steps is under the connections tab. So if you're sitting on a piece of equipment and there's having some kind of trouble with it, perhaps the arms aren't moving, or it needs to be teared frequently or something like that, you can check connections. And connections, there's two things you can do here. One is you can tear the equipment. So if there's a weight on there and nobody's applying any force, it'll register like 50 pounds. Then you can tear it and that will zero it out. And sometimes it just depends on just use of the machine. It might get off for some reason or other. Other times it might be continually moving even though you're not touching it. Tearing will reset it to get you there. Then the other things here are to check are you connected to the internet? You click that button to check that. A little green checkbox comes up to verify you're connected to the internet. It'll check to see if you're connected to the server. It's a little confused right now because it's going through my my PC, and so it's not what your normal experience is going to be. So the next thing you're going to do, so you'll have set up, that's how you set up a member in Spectrum and how you assign that tag to the member in Spectrum, so they'll be able to scan into the machines and the machines will automatically adjust to their settings. Now you have this handy-dandy little tag. You may as well go ahead and assign it to the member in the iGo360 software, and we'll take a look at how to do that. Here we are in the iGo360 software, and there are other videos that cover how to function and operate within the software. What we care about now is how do we get that same tag assigned to that same member, because as we know now, that's two separate systems, so they don't cross-pollinate yet, though that's in the works. And so the easiest thing to do is go to the member record, then you'll edit the member record by clicking the edit button, and then you have the space to enter the barcode or ID number. On the back of the branded OsteoStrong tags that we sell, you just buy those from our center. They're the really cool, thick, black ones that have the OsteoStrong logo. On the back of that, the number is actually printed on there. And so you just type it in here. Now, if you're like me, I like things easy. And so the next easiest way to do it is you can literally scan the tag. On the order form with the OsteoStrong system was an option for an RFID front desk scanner. Okay, now it plugs in and sits on your front desk, and the trainer will have gone through and helped you set that up when you've done your initial training, and that's how members scan in. And so when you're assigning the tag, if you take the unassigned tag or one that hasn't been assigned to the member in the iGo360 software, just scan it. What appears over in the attendance panel will say non-member record, and then it'll have the number on the tag next to that. Just simply copy it, select the number, and paste it into the barcode ID field. Scroll down, click Save, and you're done. Now that tag is assigned to that member, and I usually recommend at that point just simply scanning it and making sure it appears with the person's name rather than non-member scan at that point, and you're done. The value of that to you is, of course, now that they're entered and you have the members scan in when they show up for their appointment. When that happens on the recurring appointments, it automatically checks them off as having attended their appointment. So if we look at your calendar, you'll have brown color appointments set that day, okay? And when the member scans in for that appointment, the appointment stays brown. If they forget to scan in or don't show up that day, then the appointment will turn red, as we see over on this one here, just as an example. So it's a great way to help track no-shows. At the end of the day, you can scan down your calendar and see who's red, ones that didn't show up, and then you just call them up and find out why they didn't make it and reschedule. That's it for assigning the tag. The other benefits to that, of course, it tracks attendance, and when the member scans in, if they owe you money, their name appears in red. Hope this information is helpful. Thanks again. We'll talk more later.